You said you were gonna eat me!
If you thought your weird uncles were a bit much, then folks, just wait until you meet Peter Quills.
Welcome home, Peter.
The Celestials are quickly bearing down on the MCU, and if any group of beings can shake things up, it's this gang. The stoplight-looking gods we spotted creating havoc in the first Guardians of the Galaxy have the green light to enter the MCU in the Eternals. So let's have a one-way chat about what they'll do and how they'll shape, well, everything. So who are the Celestials and why should I care about giant space robots with everything else going on in the MCU right now? We've got timeline multiverse jumping, dragons are a thing now, Spider-Man got outed. It's all a lot. Well folks, strap in because it all came from this race of creepy looking robo people, and once they show up, things are about to get a lot bigger in the cosmos. If we dig into their comic origins, the Celestials' debut came in Eternals #2, as created by the real-world, one above all, comic book legend Jack Kirby. The gist of it is that before everything, there was the First Firmament. Think of it like the Big Bang, but alive and with monophobia. Basically, the universe didn't like being alone and all by itself, so it decided to create life. In the Ultimates Volume 2, we find out that the Celestials were the first cosmic beings to come into existence, and their job was to go create more life. So some did what they were told, slavishly following the First Firmament. They're called Aspirants, but others were a little more rebellious and wanted to see the populations they were creating grow and evolve. This set off a rift between the two factions, and as tends to happen, a cosmic punch-em-up got underway and the Celestials blew the First Firmament into many different pieces, each its own universe splitting off from the original entity. You could call it a multiverse. In fact, you should, because that's what it is.
You're welcome.
So the Celestials went about their cosmic ways creating all sorts of life, including the Eternals, and kept popping up to influence the development of mankind. It's unsure how much of this story will end up in the Eternals and the MCU at large, since some streamlining is sure to occur, such as Ego the Living Planet revealing he was a Celestial in Guardians Volume 2. We've also seen Nowhere, an ancient Celestial's head used as a location in the first Guardians movie. As comics do, there are different versions of Celestial origins, such as being survivors of another universe completely, so Marvel has some room to play on this one, to make it all fit neatly together into MCU canon. So okay, they're big spacesuit dudes, but what do they do now? Well, their whole thing is creating different forms of life and civilizations. The process is a little convoluted, like everything comics, but basically a team of Celestials will visit planets 4 times as hosts. The first host plants the seeds of life and picks which life forms will evolve. Think of them like cosmic gardeners. The second and third host check in and study the evolution of the planet over time. A bunch of Space David Attenboroughs monitoring planet Earth. Then come the fourth host of Celestials, which can be a real bummer. They basically show up when a planet is starting up their intergalactic travel and stay there to judge if the people there can handle it. If they think the evolution is a success, they'll wipe everyone's mind of their visit and let them carry on. But if they think the population isn't ready, well, you know, that's the bummer part. Let's just call it a fresh slate. So where does Earth fall on that 4-stage check-in process? Well, it gets a little bit weirder still. In Avengers #5, we learned that 4 billion years ago, a Celestial was infected with a space parasite known as the Horde, and then came to Earth while dying. He was bleeding and threw up, which introduced Celestial DNA into Earth's primordial shores, which is why Earth has a variety of people, with some super-powered folks. So yeah, I know it's a lot, but yeah, we're space barf. God's space barf. Other Celestials came to eradicate life on Earth like we saw Eson the Searcher doing in Guardians of the Galaxy. But they were curious about what would happen with this new weird barfy world and instead created the Eternals as perfect people who live among us. Hence, Angelina Jolie, am I right? Ooh. The Eternals were to guide and protect mankind until we had evolved enough to produce our own heroes. Oh, and also, when they made these perfect people, they also flubbed a bunch into horrible beings called deviants to kick the wheels a bit and, just terrorize the planet. So, feeling small yet? Between heroes, mutants, gods of thunder, eternals, and now celestials, you can be excused if you're feeling a little insignificant. Oh, and don't forget though, this is all happening in our universe.